This is Newsbreak 26 in Southwest New Brunswick. I'm Vicki Hogarth. Here's what's happening in our part of the world. Returning travelers by both land and air to Canada need to present a negative COVID-19 PCR test as part of their re-entry requirements, which can cost upwards of $150 per test. But some New Brunswick travelers are finding Canadians are eligible for free PCR tests at many locations in the United States. St. Andrews resident Katie McDonald was expecting to pay at least $100 US for a PCR test before her return from a week-long trip to Washington. But she was surprised to discover that the PCR test she received at a mobile testing site called Curative was fully covered by the U.S. government.
When the borders reopened, we took the chance to go down and visit my newborn nephew, which was great, and he's in Washington, D.C. So we went down there. We knew we had to get a COVID test, a PCR test to return to Canada, and we were a little unsure about how to do that. We expected it to cost money, but we found a site called, there's a company called Curative.com, and I think they're all over the United States. You can look at it online and find out where they're located, but they give free tests to anyone. You don't have to have insurance or anything like that. You just register, show up, do a swab, and they send it off to a lab. We got our results within 24 hours. It was super easy.
Some pharmacy chains, such as Walgreens, have been offering free PCR tests, and that includes to Canadians who book appointments via the pharmacy's website using the address of the place where they're staying in the United States. Keep in mind, you can only cross back into Canada with a negative test result taken within the last 72 hours, which can be the tricky part depending on when you receive your results and could lead to unforeseen travel delays if you need to be retested. It also means that same-day over and back trips are still not feasible for most travelers. New Brunswick students headed back to school on Monday after 2 weeks of online learning, as striking public sector workers went back to work after over 2 weeks on the picket lines. A tentative settlement between the province and over 20,000 QP workers is being voted on this week.
I know that everyone is anxious to get back to normal routines. And certainly with COVID all part of this equation, it has made it even more difficult. And many people have had to do things much differently for this last while. But thank you so much for being part of the solution, because ultimately it helped us reach an agreement that's fair and reasonable.
The town of St. Andrews is reducing its mill rate for the first time in the town's history. Mayor Brad Henderson made the announcement during the town's regular November council meeting.
The mill rate is going from $1.26 reduced to $1.20. That is the actions of council and staff realizing that the assessments in the town of St. Andrews and the whole province, but especially in the town of St. Andrews, have gone up significantly. Services do cost more, but we do realize that there is only so much that can be passed on to the taxpayer of St. Andrews.
Finally, winter means one thing for many residents of Charlotte County: hockey. For more on this, here's CHCO's Ian Curran.
The Charlotte County Irishmen hit the ice for the first time on Saturday night at the Garcelon Civic Center in a game against Casey's Canucks of Quispamsis. The St. Stephen-based Irishmen are part of a new hockey league in southwest New Brunswick that's been years in the making.
This has been about 6 years in the making, but recently, just up to 2 years ago, just prior to COVID hitting, myself, Steve Evans, Bill McNeil, a couple guys from St. John, put our heads together and really feeling the need for missing local senior hockey in southern New Brunswick.
With over 600 excited fans in the stands, it was clear the moment the puck hit the ice that the new league was filling a void left by the Aces.
And I'm excited because there's 25 guys in that dressing room down there for Charlotte County. They actually live in Charlotte County, so that's exciting. They can play in front of their friends and family, and I think it's be a good night. So
the Irishmen were ultimately defeated by Casey's Canucks 4-3, but the new league is clearly a victory for hockey lovers. There will be many more Irishman games to come in the weeks ahead. Ian Curran, CHCO, Newsbreak 26, St. Stephen.
Thanks, Ian. That's all the news I have for you. For more stories and live-streamed COVID-19 updates for the province, follow us on Facebook at CHCO.TV.
A news and public affairs production of CHCO-TV, New Brunswick's only source for independent community television.